Welcome, beautiful souls, to the Beyond the Belief podcast. I'm your host, Lavender Loveway. With each episode, I invite you personally to join me as we explore a belief. It might be a widely held idea or a forgotten truth, or perhaps even one that feels unknown or deeply contested. This is a sanctuary for exploration, a place to absorb, listen, and learn with an open heart. We're shedding the heaviness of right and wrong and ascending into the lightness of greater connection and expansive knowledge. Today's episode is no exception. This is another precious opportunity to find a little gem or two of wisdom that helps you reweave your own tapestry of truth. Hello, my dearest friends. I am so delighted to be here for today's episode because this is something that I have been contemplating for quite a good little while. And I had asked for support from my guides to better understand it. Something I heard a little while ago is that when we were talking about energetic attachments or those energies that attach to us, let's say if we go to a place, they can just latch on, or if we are maybe entertaining some energies, they can gravitate towards us and then somehow infuse themselves with our aura and we're stuck with them, or that we have to cut energetic ties and navigate their intensity, their presence. And what I had heard is that our attachments are actually not entities, that we cannot have involuntary possession, in that we can just walk into a place and there's something there and it can just attach to us without our consent. Instead, it's actually the manifestation of our fear. And hearing this, I was like, whoa, like talk about challenge to my belief system. What I've heard for so long through so many different individuals is that these energetic attachments literally just attach to us at any point. We have no control over it. And if there's certain beings or people in our life that keep sending us attachments or keep trying to hold us down with different energetic beings or energies, they just can. I've heard that for I don't even know how long. So to hear that basically we are in the consent seat for these things, but then also that we're such powerful creators that we actually create our own energetic attachments, I had to ask my guides about this. I had to seek their guidance and their advice because this absolutely stretched and challenged so many beliefs that I had held prior. And that maybe, possibly, the truth is that these energetic attachments from our human belief system are not external frightening forces that can get us. So the very first thing my guides shared, many of you think that attachments like demonic or possessed entities are actually separate from you and attach onto you. Those things are not true unless you choose. Whoa. So we start off the transmission with a bang, essentially debunking that this is not true. Obviously, if we choose anything, we can. We are master creators, so we can choose whatever experience we want. And if we want a quote, quote, demonic energy to attach to us because it gives us something to experience, or it makes us feel a certain way, or it allows us to get certain attention from other beings, then we can. But the concept that these possessions, and even on the side of demonic, which my guides had shared with me over a course of quite a few different channeling sessions, that there is no demonic. There is no devil. There is no hell. I know in studying Dolores Cannon, she reiterated, I don't even know how many times, there's no such thing as hell. You create your own hell. And that when you pass through the veil from this world and you do what's called a life review, you essentially judge yourself. There is no God that's sitting there that's going to judge you and condemn you and everything else. No. And funny enough, as much as I have reflected on that, there's something about it that makes so much sense, because I feel like actually the toughest, worst, and meanest, if you will, critics that we have of ourselves is ourselves. That even others can do and say some pretty terrible things. But we are often much more cruel, much meaner to ourselves than others can be, or that others tend to be. But then they confirmed to me what my original suspicion was. As far as our creative abilities, they go on to share. If the being believes in entities, possessions, they will create that for themselves. And if they believe that, it will take effect. Holy At this point, I am a conscious channeler, so as this information is coming in, I can hear it. And I remember feeling like, holy cow, like I can't wait to see what else is going to be shared. Because to me, and I will say this out loud, anytime we're considering or listening to or reflecting on a different belief than what we hold within us, and we know this because we feel some sort of friction or hairiness. If we don't feel anything, we don't really hold a belief that counters that or agrees with that, basically makes that thing truth or not truth. It just is. Which, funny enough, that's what everything is. It just is. So it's our beliefs that make it something. And that's a whole other topic for a whole other episode. But the reason I want to say this is that if we not only believe that these things are things, then we create it. But then also if we believe, it'll basically take effect. So our beliefs are so powerful. They're so powerful they can create entities. And they're so powerful that they can create these attaching things that then we are navigating with, we are existing with, we are seeing. I've interacted with many, many beings, many people who say, I'm possessed, or I've been possessed, or I've had something hanging around me and it won't leave me alone and it just attaches to me, or every time I go to this place, something attaches to me. Somebody I know keeps sending me an attachment. And so for me, the root of my question was, can you please just define attachments? So that I can understand what this means. Are you ready for this? If I only had a drum roll. Here's what they said. Attachments are only created from you. If there is resonance with a being who may be at a lower vibrational level, it is because there is similarity. There is equality. There is similar. There is something of a similar nature. This is what resonance is. It is not possessing you. Instead, it is attempting to feel the resonance within itself from your energy. This is why you can feel it, because the resonance vibrates both ways. It is felt both ways. Whew. Okay. So attachments basically are only created from you. And here's the interesting thing. So even if someone else creates the thing, let's say they say that there's this demonic thing that's attacking you right now and they can see it. If you don't believe it, if you don't essentially take it from them and receive it, there's space. It is not like Earth in that we can get in each other's space, like we can sick these things on or do these things or break down someone's door. It is not the case. So it could have close proximity to you. It could be literally right in front of you, but you cannot receive it unless you accept it. So even if someone is saying this, or someone else, I don't know, another being of some sort is telling you that this is the case, if you say no, and I instead invite this thing to go back to the light, to return back to the light, you are commanding it so. And so it is. There is no negotiation. There is no flusteredness of victimhood. And now you have to deal with this appendage, this attachment because somebody gave it to you. And no, you do not. And funny enough, I ran into this first when I actually hosted a QHHT session and someone's attachment essentially came out. When I got home, I connected with my guides and I had someone who was close to me telling me, oh, you need to go do an energetic cleansing because you were just exposed to this and it could attach to you and now you're going to have this and that. And I'm standing there like, what? Like, okay, well, what they're saying could be true or what they're saying might not be true. So let me do this. Let me go inwards and let me go upwards and let me connect with my guides to find and discover my belief and my truth. So I connected with them and I shared with them my belief. And my belief is this: that I am in control of attachments. I'm in control of energy. If I do not accept this energy that I was basically subjected to, then it just dissipates. It goes away. It finds something else to do. It goes somewhere else. It cannot hang out with me. It cannot attach to me unless I permit it to. And if I invite it and ask it, demand of it, to go back and return to the light, it must do so. There is no possession in that it's going to hijack what I'm saying and say whatever and do whatever. I was saying Spanish, lo que sea. Like, no, that's not the way it works. And in confirming with my guides, I was like, look, do I have to have some energetic cleansing because somehow this thing attached to me and now I've been in this energy? And because I don't believe that is the case. And they confirmed with me then. It's all based on your belief. If you don't believe you need the energetic cleansing, then you don't. If you don't believe that it can't attach to you, then it won't. That our belief powers this. That was a lot of clarity for my belief system. And then in this case, when I'm asking my guides about attachment specifically, okay, so they're saying attachments are created by us, which I'll expand on here in a moment. But the predominant thing that they're also discussing in this quote is basically talking about another being. So often I've heard people talking about different levels of astral beings and that they basically, I'm using air quotes, become possessed by this lower level astral being who keeps hanging out with them. They won't leave them alone, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Funny enough, Dolores Cannon talked about this in a couple of different lectures and in one of her books. That yes, there are different beings who have different vibrational levels, and they might have a vibrational level that is lower than yours. It doesn't mean that they are a low being. They just have a lower vibrational level. And if you are entertaining behavior, like she gave a specific example of someone who's just, let's say, binge drinking. They're going out, they won't stop drinking, get to the point they're just super sloshed, whatever. This lower vibrational being wants to feel that feeling again. They want to feel that drunkenness, release, carefree, whatever the emotion is, but they want to experience it again because they, let's say, used to do that when they were here on Earth. And so instead, they come and hang out with you. As she described it, it's like osmosis. They're just trying to get the feeling from you because they can't do it. They can't drink. They can't experience what you're experiencing. But they're coming to you because there is some level of resonance. There is some level of similarity, like as in apples to apples. So if we are keeping ourselves in a state that, let's say, is of a lower vibrational level, and we have, let's just say, this astral being who's hanging out with us because they want to drink too, but they can't. So they're just going to try to, through osmosis, feel it off of you. Well, then, yeah, you could feel them. They could be there, but they're doing something that you're doing. So if you stop doing it, they're going to go away. And also in this case, they don't possess you. They're just hanging out with you because there's resonance. And this also happens on the other side when we're talking about even love. If there is a similar resonance, there is something that's attracting you to this person. And I'm not even talking about like relationship, like marriage, etc. No, it could be even friendship, just something that you're attracted to. There is some sort of resonance. And sometimes it can be that the other person maybe has a higher level of vibration in that thing. So let's say in love, they have a higher level of love for themselves. And so you're attracted to it because it feels really good, but they're not going to hang out with you for very long because yours is lower and it doesn't feel super good for them. So it feels great for you, but like, for them. So this is where there's not a lot of resonance. And this is where that ends up not being so. It doesn't happen. It doesn't last very long because there isn't something that's energetically helping to create resonance, to create magnetism, to create that energetic field of reciprocity. So we also must understand our responsibility in this. And this is what this quote specifically spoke so deeply to me, that we are putting ourselves either in a place of creation or a place of resonance, where we basically are opening the door. So we are inviting in something, but we still have choice. with a drinking example, if I just like, that is it. I am done. I am never doing this again. I'm not going to binge drink. That is it. I'm done. That's it. The resonance is over. That other lower level being is not going to hang out with you because they can't get it through osmosis anymore. They're going to go find someone else who can. So it's not possession. And then we've got the level kind of consent. Then they go on to share this. It's not an outside attachment to you or taking you over, unless that is what you are calling into your experience, unless that's what you are choosing. Wow. So there, so there it is, mic drop. Unless you are choosing them to attach to you, unless you are allowing the attachment, they can't. It doesn't happen. It's not an outside attachment to you unless you're calling it in. So this, for me, has some sort of resonance with what my guides had shared with me before. That if I don't believe that I don't need an energetic clearing because I've not invited anything in, then I don't need it. If I believe I do need it, then by golly, then do it. But it comes down to the power of our beliefs. So they moved the conversation forward and then hit me with this one. Things that appear to be attachments or negative entities are instead your own fear manifested into form. Okay, so let me just say this first. Wow. Second of all, look how powerful we are. If we believe in our fear, our fears create. And this is why fear is the most intense human emotion, from a sense of you can create a whole reality for yourself through fear. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. This isn't good. You can literally architect an entire life experience just around fear. And for me, hearing this tells me that when we're talking about attachments, so I'll kind of move away from the lower level astral beings of who's hanging out with us and instead move into this, what is an attachment? The attachment. So the thing that we have allowed to attach to us are our own fed fear. So our emotions, our thoughts, and basically our fears or beliefs, they create. So essentially, if you have some attachment, if you have something that you are navigating with, it is of your own creation. So the other piece of my question was, with attachments, how do they come into existence? How do they attach? When they attach, how they attach, why they attach. And my guides walked through a couple of things that are so powerful that I'd like to share with you. Because for me, this shows, again, it's all a mirror. Everything is a mirror. It shows how powerful we are as creators. And if we are powerful enough to create attachments, how could we not be powerful enough to create things in our life? To create abundance, to create love, to go as far as creating beautiful and wonderful things for our life as well. What we pour our energy into is what is created. So before I get into the analysis, let me share with you a few things they said. The first thing, and the root of this is, if you can't see it within yourselves and see it there, you instead put it outside of yourselves, so you can more clearly see it. Again, I think wow is going to be my word for this episode. I'm like, okay. So then they go on to say, it's easier to see in someone else, another being, or something else versus yourselves. It's easier when it's outside of yourselves to look at and work with and work between and work within. Holy cow, y'all. So my interpretation of this is that basically what resides within us that we don't want to acknowledge, or we don't want to accept, or we want to deny, or we are not willing to see, or all of the above, or some variation of. So whatever the thing is within ourselves that we are not sitting at the table with, we're not willing to consider, we then instead take it from within ourselves and bring it without ourselves. So we take it outside to then work with it there. So to me, this is the epicenter of attachments. If there is a fear, if there is a doubt, If there is something I don't want to look at, something I don't want to acknowledge, something I don't want to work through or work with, I instead take it out of myself and I put it in front of myself. So this, from what my guides shared, and from what I'm understanding thus far, is that these attachments first come from within. And granted, they can come from, let's say, events, trauma, tragedy, things that we went through as kids, as adults, doesn't matter. Absolutely. So it can start from basically kind of the outside as far as like stimuli. But we took that stimuli and did something with it internally, or it reflected upon something, or obviously depending on our age and our capacity to understand what's happening. But essentially, something within that event occurred within us. And because we didn't deal with it, couldn't deal with it, didn't want to deal with it, refused to deal with it, chose to deny it, chose to not see it, we then instead pulled it out of ourselves and put it right in front of us. And basically it's attached. My goodness. It's like, this is so powerful. So in a nutshell, we basically really enable ourselves to look at it. And it could be fear. Could be we're afraid to do it. And it's there. It's in front of us. And so we've created this thing outside of it to attempt to deal with it. My guides go on to share this. The being is not handling it, not exploring it, and not allowing it to be heard and seen. Instead, they feed it the fear energy they generated from their ultimate negligence of handling it or exploring it or allowing it, and instead create it. Just like, I swear, obviously when I channel, I can hear this happening. And then the first time I kind of put it into transcript form, I listened to the recording and I read it. I was like, holy cannoli. Like, again, I am seeing this from a couple different angles, because if we are talking about traumas or things that created attachments to ourselves as young children, there are a few other extra pieces to this. But if we are an adult, a consenting adult, and let's say we are still not choosing to navigate what may have happened as a young child, we are continuing to basically feed the attachment. So regardless of the creation or the birth of it, we also continue to have to feed it. So it becomes an appendage. It becomes a being, essentially. I guess you can kind of see it like that. It becomes an energy that then can take on its own personality, if you will. It can take on its own form because we feed it fear. So what it enjoys, what it noshes on, what it needs for sustenance is our fear. And normally the fear is coming from not wanting to deal with it. Like, I just want it to go away, or like, I don't need this, or I don't have time for this, or this is nonsense, this is ridiculous, I don't even know what it is. It's avoiding, because who knows, maybe it is really painful. Maybe there are a lot of emotions. Maybe this would open the door to other things. Maybe this would shed light on something else. It absolutely could. To think about this, that literally my guides are saying that basically it's for whatever reason we're not handling it, we're continuing to not handle it, we're continuing to ignore it and neglect it, and then it's becoming this appendage or this attachment that then we continue to feed with our fears, and basically this just continues the growth. It continues the existence. And the thing that my guides then said next was just, I love them so much because they are so real in saying what the things are, but then they also acknowledge the things that are kind of those mirrored facets. So here's what I mean. This is what they said next. The truth that comes from these situations, the being doesn't want to believe they are that powerful to create things like that. They want to think they only create ascended things instead of neglected things. As you say, the being is powerful to create, quote, good and bad things, end quote. Gosh. So y'all, despite the why and the how it got there, and that it's an appendage and it's been in existence for years, and we've been feeding it our fears and basically keeping it alive. And the more attention we pay, the more thoughts we pay, the more fear we feed it, it just continues its life, just continues living. But they want to acknowledge our power in creation. how powerful we are. And obviously my guides say this all the time. There is no good and bad, but they're using our terminology that we can create ascended things or we can create neglected things. And to think that we're taking the things that we're neglecting and then creating with it, this is how incredibly powerful we are. So again, we are powerful creators. Our thoughts are things. Our energy creates things, sustains things. And we can create whatever kind of life we want. My guides go on to share just a few other details that beyond basically entities, there are other basically attachments. And this is the way they can show up in our life. And this was really interesting because obviously I was focusing more so on these energetic attachments that I have witnessed in QHHT sessions and or spoken to beings that I know that have navigated some of these things. But they went on to kind of expand this even further. The first thing they shared, in a spiritual awakening, what you refer to as attachments are seen as emotional, mental, or energetic ties that stem from the ego mind and create illusions of control, separation, and dependency. My goodness. So it's multifaceted. So this attachment doesn't necessarily need to take on, let's just say, if I can be this linear, it doesn't have to take on a personality and it doesn't have to take on all these things that it's doing to us. There's actually multiple types of attachments. They can be emotional, they can be mental, they can be energetic ties. And as they continue to expand on what the energetic ties are, they expanded on they could be attachments to people. So our desire for validation, being worthy, being loved. They can be attachments to outcomes. So focus on manifesting specific, very, very specific results or having control over it, or even fear of failure as an outcome. It can be attachments to identity. So clinging to roles or labels or some sort of ego-based identity of how you define yourself, your social status, your possessions. It could be attachments to beliefs. So your spiritual beliefs, your spiritual practices, judging others on their paths, your path, who's more advanced, who's a lower level entity, attachments to our beliefs. Could be attachments to our emotions, craving some sort of status, bliss, peace, resistance, anger, sadness, attention, wanting to feel angry or frustrated because it gets us attention. It could be attachments to material things. So desires for security, over-identification with things, wealth, how much wealth we have, what that means about us, what possessions we hold. The brands, the labels. It could be attachments to time, regrets over the past, memories, past mistakes, specific outcomes from what happened in the past or what could happen in the future. It could be attachments to relationships, codependency, others' happiness, expectations, how I should act, what I'm responsible for. Or it could be physical and energetic manifestations, feeling drained, continuing to feel like you have to feed this emotion or this guilt or this pathway to value. That basically these objects or attachments to the past, they could be completely draining you, and literally you keep pouring in your precious energy, your precious light into these things. So as I collected obviously all of this as I'm channeling, I'm sitting there like, holy cow. And as I always ask whenever I channel is, how can I address this? What options do I have? So if I find myself in this situation, what do I do? What are my options? What could I do? And so, of course, what they shared and expanded on was about letting go, releasing these attachments. Here's what they said. If you can simply understand, get to a point of awareness that it's just your fear manifested into form, you can then illuminate it, see it for what it is, recognize it, respect it, and release it. Then it instantly goes away. So essentially seeing it. And if I see it like this, seeing it like a person, seeing it like an energy, a being, that recognizing it, understanding it, seeing it for what it is, hearing it out. I'm like getting like inner child vibes, right? Just sitting, inviting it to the table, understanding it. And this is what empowers us to grow. Because if we move past this point, we ascend. We are not held down. We are not anchoring ourselves to these attachments. whether they are full-on functioning beings, if you will, or attachments in a sense of things energetically. And for me, the key was understanding that the detachment also doesn't mean rejecting. It's not avoiding. It's embracing with openness and trust, listening, connecting, understanding. So it's not about just taking a machete and just going wild. It's sitting down at the table and understanding it, understanding its connection, understanding its genesis. This is often what a QHHT session empowers. When I am able to assist a client to ask their SC why something is happening, they then procure the why. And in these cases, understanding the why, somehow it just makes sense. A lot of times it's a lot more obvious, but understanding the why, the fundamental why, allows it to be released. And to me, it's also about practicing gratitude, honoring the attachment for what it's there to teach you. It's the thing that we have been denying, so we pull it out and attach it to ourselves somehow. It's outside of us so we can see it, but it's there so that it can reflect to us what we need to understand. And in practicing the gratitude of thank you for what you've illuminated for me, this also allows it to go back to the light, to be released. So obviously I've shared a lot, and I will be very honest. I think this episode will be one that I will frequently listen to because the reminders of what these attachments are and how we get them, how we entertain them, how we keep them, how we feed them, and then how we release them. But in this beautiful moment of now, my invitation for you as you contemplate this episode is inquiring on what are you holding onto today in this moment of now that is limiting your freedom. For me, one of the most treasured beliefs and values I have is freedom. Allowing others who are in my presence to have freedom of choice, freedom of perspective, freedom of understanding, and having freedom myself. If there is something that I have that isn't making me feel free, what can I do? I can contemplate it. What am I holding on to? There's something that I'm holding on to it. Things are not done to us. And even if they are by someone else, it's done supposedly to us. We have a choice in what we do with that. Whether we take it up, we believe it, or we just let it sit there and we contemplate it. We are in control, if you will. We have the choice. So invite yourself to contemplate what is something that you are holding and holding onto, even maybe clenching, that is limiting your freedom. I do believe in divine timing. And I'm using air quotes for timing. But in a sense of the alignment of when things come into our existence, into our consciousness, into our purview, into our perspective. That every single thing that's happening in your life experience is for your highest good, even if you can't see it yet. And the key word there is yet. If you seek it, if you want to understand it, it will reveal itself to you. And depending on the things that you need to see or experience or understand to move through that kind of energetic field, you can. Nothing is impossible, my friends. Nothing is impossible. So this is happening for your highest good. How can this be a point of contemplation? If you release something in this beautiful moment of now, you are freer. And as we know, the more we release and allow and surrender, the more we actually receive, because we are creating space for that thing, whatever it is, to come into our existence. It's almost like the invitation. If we let go, we can allow and receive. So allow this to be a moment of setting yourself free. And even if it's the smallest little thing, that's okay. Take those baby steps. Take it one moment at a time. Take it one thing at a time. And if there's things that you have been clenching and holding on to and maybe even neglecting, and it's been quite a while, and it's been a lot of emotion and a lot of feeding of fear or a lot of feeding of energy, then it might have a lot of stature. It might be pretty stately. So yes, it might be something that will take some energy to kind of unbundle, unfurl, and to understand. But you can if you want to. You can if you will it to be. I believe that as well. You are a powerful creator, my friend. No matter what, I pray that you walk away from this episode knowing how powerful you are, how powerful your thoughts, your emotions, what they truly create. They can create anything, even attachments, energetic or otherwise. It's incredible. I'm sending you so much love and light. Namaste.